Welcome back into the Ohio MMA podcast. I am your host, David McKinney. Joining me on today's episode, longtime friend, longtime Ohio MMA fighter, Rell Hodge. What's up, man?
What's up, Dave, man? How's it going?
It's going well, man. I'm glad to get you on. I guess this version of the podcast, but we go back
We go
way back, man, back to
way.
the to the Gateway MMA, Bluegrass MMA, all the iterations. So I'm glad to finally get you on this one. But yeah, man. So you got a fight coming up here in a couple of weeks at Cage Thunder 28 Fight Night in the Flats, the main event. First off, man, I know you're just getting back. I think you said you were doing some road work. How'd that go?
Oh, good, man. Couple did about 3 miles, and it felt good, man. It was hot earlier today, but later on tonight it was nice and cool, so it felt good to get outside.
Yeah. I'm actually training for a marathon right now. I got to get all mine done early in the morning, man, like 6 a.m. before it gets too hot out there, and it still sucks.
Yeah, it still sucks, man. Wait a minute. So you running marathons?
Yeah, man.
My
I'm
gosh,
doing my third one in October, so
how,
nothing like cage fighting though.
how many miles?
It's 26.2.
26 miles. So it's like a 50k.
Yeah,
My
something like no, it's yeah, 50K is like 31, so it's
okay,
like 40, I don't know, 45K, something like that. It's enough. It's a long way.
it's a long way, man. She runs those faithfully. And she'd be like, "Yep, 8 hours in." I'd be like, 8 hours of running? How can you do this?
Yeah, I don't do the 8 hours. It takes me like four and a half.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah,
Got a
yeah,
nice yeah.
yeah. But yeah, man. So you're fighting main event Cage Center 28 here in a couple weeks. You're fighting Valodia Avazian. I think that said that right. How you feeling about the fight, man? It's a tough matchup. You're 10-4. He's 11-4. Of course, you guys are both well respected, got great records behind you. But how you feeling about the matchup and facing another tough opponent?
I mean, this is part of the game. You get up there with your records, you get up there with your skills, and you can't keep fighting, losers or people with losing records. So you got to start testing yourself and keep pushing to be better as a fighter. So, I feel great. Every fight I go in there with the same mindset that they fight my fight, and no, they best of luck to them. Whatever they want to do better than me or think they can do better than me, I'm gonna go there with them, and I'm gonna show them that I can hang with them or I can do better than them. So it's just
Yeah.
for a long time, it's just another fight to me. Just levels up, keep going levels up every fight.
Yeah, and he has, I think he's 10-4. He has nine knockouts or 11-4, nine knockouts, something like that. But the thing with him is, win or lose, it doesn't go to the distance. How do you prepare for a guy like that? Like, you've had a handful of fights go the distance, but how do you prepare for a guy who goes out there? You know that he's gonna probably not planning to go the distance with you. Do you feel like you got to match that intensity early on? Do you feel like you got to make sure that you still can go 15? Like how do you match up against it or prepare for a guy that is going to come out blazing because most of his wins are in the first round.
Yeah. So I mean, take him to the second round. Try to do what I got to do to get him to go the distance. I know I heard like you said, most of his fights went to the first round, and once he goes to the second round, he's gassed out. So weather the storm, stay in there, take him down. Make him get a little tired on the ground, see what he got on the ground, and whether like just drain him out. So that's what I'm looking to do. Really, if I can survive the first round, this guy gonna be gassed the second and third round. So he better hope he get the knockout the first round. If not, his ass is mine 2 rounds later. Round.
Yeah, and so another thing too, man, this is the second time in your career that you've had kind of a long layoff. The last time it was like 2.5 years. This time it's almost 2 years. Actually, it'd be 2 years in like a week, almost to the day
What
since
are you
your
talking?
last fight.
No, you
What's
not.
that?
2 years.
Yeah,
In two
two
years.
years or a year. I'm sorry, 1 year.
Okay.
What am I talking about? Yeah.
Man, I know
I'm looking
I'm
at. Yeah.
like, man, 2 years did not go by that fast, bro. What are you talking about? You hit me,
Okay.
but
1 year. So I know you got married, you got the family, the kids, everything. This is not as long of a layoff as your last one because that was almost 3 years. But what's it like, having that time off? I know you've kind of tried to stay busy. I've seen you, talking about fights and stuff like that. I don't know if you had anything fall through. You of course, had your fight in Bellator last year. Bellator went through some, the acquisition and stuff like that, and that's all crazy.
Yeah.
What's it been like? Was it planned that you were going to take time off, or like is this not planned? Like what have you been up to?
It's not playing. I had some fights. LFA wanted me to come back and fight for the title, but the guy they was offering me, he was like 5-0, and he was a wrestler, and I was like, nah, because I did want the guy that was the champion, but I heard he got called up. So John Sweeney, I wanted him, but they said he got called up, and then I just saw he fought the guy that I beat last month for the title, which he didn't make weight, unprofessional. But yeah, I had a couple fights fall through. That one with LFA, and just spending time with my family, my kids, um, stuff like that. That's always important to me, especially around the time of like Thanksgiving, October, Halloween, Christmas. That like I dedicate those last 4 months of the year to them, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. You talk about John Sweeney. I saw him down in fight in LFA in Kentucky. He's a fun guy to watch. He was the main event of that card down there. That would have been a hell of a fight.
Man, that would have been a great ass fight. I know he a lot of this, man, but yeah, he a good kid, man. He's talented. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um. So you are fighting back in the flats, fight night in the flats. You're a Cleveland guy. I know you got some good memories and you got some bad memories from the flats. You a couple of amateur fights. You won one, you lost one, and then your pro debut. You almost 10 years ago. It's a
Yeah,
long time ago. I was there. I was at the Intimidation Clothing booth, and not even like I mean, I usually like oh like really Rell's gonna take care of this whatever,
yeah.
and then like 30 seconds into that fight, it was your pro debut. You got caught like in I think it was 38 seconds.
38 seconds.
Um,
Uh,
let's see, 38. What's it like now coming back a decade later? Same venue, different promotion, but big, big event. It's always a packed crowd. You got to feel like you're excited to get some of that bad taste out of your mouth, right?
oh yeah, man. So yeah, I'm 1-2 in the Nautica. I won one and I lost two. I lost to Saltzman, that won my amateur, and then I lost the other guy. My first pro fight got put to sleep. That was the best. It sucked, but it was the best nap I ever had. You know, my nap was
Yeah,
my nap was longer than my fight. It was horrible. But yeah, it's sweet. It's bitter and sweet. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get 2-2 in the NAF. So definitely, hopefully, I get this win next 2 weeks. But yeah, man, I had my ups and downs at the NAFs. It's good to fight in front of my home crowd. They give me a lot of love, but it's also nervous too. I like being a away fighter kind of a person. I like fighting in somebody's backyard. I don't like fighting. I like fighting in my backyard, but I feel like it's a lot more pressure on me. But it is what it is. It's just a fight.
yeah. I feel like you like when you were fighting down for OCL in like the Columbus area. That was nice because it was like not a far drive, but it's not like right there in your backyard, right? Like I feel like you always like in those fights, man. Like you really showed some like I feel like for me that was the most impressive I saw you in your career. I feel like you were like taking another step. And then of course obviously you got you ended up going to LFA and then Bellator, right after that. Is that kind of like right around that time? I know it was tough. It was during COVID. They were kind of like building you up a little bit too. Like you were fighting some tough dudes and you went and fought for I think you fought for their title.
Mhm.
Um and if I felt from to me like you were the most comfortable that you were in your career. Is that what you did you feel that like looking back because you were like going out there submitting people, you were throwing elbows, like it was a whole different level from what I remember. Maybe that was just me like excited that you came back after a long layoff or something and I forgot about you or something, but did you feel like that when you were fighting for OCL down there?
Oh yeah, man. The LCL definitely took care of me, Nicole. She's a great promoter. That's a great organization out there. Yeah, I definitely feel like I felt comfortable, coming back, after a long 2 years so layoff, coming back into the cage. It was great feeling. I feel comfortable. I feel calm, and that's where I want to be in my career. Nice and calm when I'm in there, and just can to weather any storm that comes my way. Anybody what they throw at me, I can go any part of the game. On the ground, stand up. I feel great.
I still that fight against Tobias Taylor, that knee bar. I still don't know what happened. I'm still trying to break down the film.
What
I
happened?
had a I had a black belt, a legit black belt, Luke Zachrich calling it with me, and he didn't even know what happened. I'm like, if Luke doesn't know, then I guess I'm good, right?
You good? Yeah, you've been doing this a long time. Nobody ever seen a knee bar like that from that position. So yeah, it was a sweet submission. Shout out to Tobias, man. He doing his thing out there still too.
Yeah, man, that's like, do you follow guys? I mean, that of course, people that you fought, you probably do follow, but fighters that have been around because there's not calling you old or anything, but there's not a lot of fighters that have been around for
Oh,
the sport for as long as you have, especially on kind of the local regional scene. Like you've been fighting since when was your debut? 2011. There's not really that many fighters that are still left like basically you kind of outlasted everybody, I think is maybe the good way to say it in your career. But do you follow people that you kind of came up with and fighters like that? Of course, like Cody Garbrandt, who you fought early in your career, and people still show that highlight of you knocking him out. But do you kind of do that? Like, hey, like, I know that I see this guy like Ethan Goss, a
oh yeah,
guy who's still out there, Tobias Taylor. I mean, you look at some of the names on your record, Richie Canalina, who was doing a bunch in boxing. Um, it it's always interesting. I feel like going back and like sometimes it's like a walk down memory lane.
yeah. You just making me think about everybody right now. So yeah, we you get in a fight with somebody, I, it's a bond you make there with somebody. You sharing a cage with somebody else. A lot of like blood, sweat, and tears mixing in there. All the hard work you put in, and then afterwards, some guys go get shots or drinks afterwards and talk about they training camp and what they looked at. So, and at the beginning, you bump heads, everybody, talk crap, but at the end of the day, it's all love in there. You follow up with somebody, you follow them on social media, see how their career going. You talk to them, and sometimes you even train with them once in a while. So it's like we all go in there for one goal to get the W, and if we don't get it, no bad blood. We talk to each other afterwards and link up and see how your life going. So I still talk to a lot of guys that I fought, a lot of guys that I trained with in the past and see how they going with their life. And a lot of people, doing great in life. Okay.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's always like nice to see the people that the being able to be the cheerleader a little bit too, right? Like seeing people that you faced and whether you beat them or lost to them or whatever, and seeing people like I know it was probably kind of bittersweet. Like I feel like when especially like Cody because you guys fought as amateurs, and then he just after that fight just like a skyrocket, man. Like it was wild. Like I feel like watching that you got to be like man like what's going on but that's one thing I wanted to ask you. So like you're 34 now, you're actually a month younger than me, we're the same age,
Respect
uh but the I always thought you were a guy. I mean, I feel like you got like you can talk, you got hell of a hell of a game. You're not going out there like you don't have boring fights. All your fights are super exciting. Like, what do you feel like you've had? I mean, of course you signed with Bellator, but like, I think for everybody, the goal is UFC, right? Like, that's the pinnacle. What
Yeah.
do you feel like has been missing in your career? Do you feel like there's nothing missing? Like, what do you feel like you haven't gotten there yet?
I had a couple short notice calls with the UFC, but I had some injury problems, and it's pretty much if I would have had the right people around me, in my career, pretty much probably would have got a call up earlier in my career. But yeah, it's just having the right people, I guess, the right people at your camp, the right management group, or the right coaches. So if I would have had that kind of surrounding around me, the people I have around me was great. But some it's about who you know in the game sometimes.
Yeah, that's always something I tell young fighters, right? Like, of course, not that people ask me for advice, but I tell people get to the best gym that you can possibly get that's within driving distance of your house, and then continue to train at that gym and train at that gym. They're going to tell you when you're ready. Make sure you get some cross training in, and then continue to level up. Like, not saying that you're not loyal, but make sure that you can you see a lot of fighters, like one thing that the biggest thing, like Cody, when he changed his whole uprooted his whole life, went out to alpha male, and um, uh, not everyone has that ability. Um, but the other, being at this stage in your career, is UFC still like that's got to be the back of your head? Is that still a goal, or do you want to try to get back to obviously Bellator kind of is a thing right now? Not really. I don't know what it is. PFL. Like, do you just want to maybe try to get back to the big show period? Do you want to try to get back to the UFC? Like, what's the goal for you? I think because obviously I know you don't want to always be fighting on the regional level. Cage Thunder is awesome, and I like it because I get to see you fight locally, and it's easy to get to your fights. But what's the goal? Where do you feel like you want to be?
Getting up in age, definitely, I definitely want to get my feet in the UFC door, and test my skills. That's like you said, that's the pinnacle. Everybody want to get there, and that's still in my mind. But getting up in age, that window's closing. Slowly, but it's closing. It's definitely closing. So I'm just gonna keep living and performing for whoever gives me a chance to perform for them. But hopefully, I get that. I do get that call here pretty soon.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. It's like always the seeing the fighters. Like I said, you have, I think, the total package. I know you have had, as you mentioned, some injuries and maybe just not right place, right time. But I feel like it would be a travesty for the sport if people didn't get to see you on the highest stage. So just as a me being a fan, I know you're going to get there, but. Let's talk about training. So you got, I know are you still training? I know you're doing next level. You were training at Aries with Dave Graff. Is that kind of the camp for this fight as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I've been with Dave. I haven't been up to next level in a minute. So, but Dave and I've been getting it in every day with mid work, conditioning. Been doing a lot of strength and conditioning. Yeah, it's been a good camp. Other than stuff outside of my camp. Life been hitting me kind of hard, but camp's been camp. It's been good.
Yeah, I know Dave's got some young studs coming up through the gym too, man. That's always got to keep you on your toes, right?
Man, I'm like, look, I'm thinking I'm fast still, and all these young kids getting fast. They are fast. They're coming up. There's definitely some young studs with a lot of talent. And they call me. They still say I'm fast, but when I'm throwing my punches, it just don't look as fast as I think it is. Maybe it's just me, or maybe it's just me. It don't feel as fast as I think it is. So yeah, but no, he got some good young kids coming up. And
Yeah.
couple of them fighting on the same card as me, and just seeing them. I like seeing my people fight on the same card as me. Yeah, that give me the motivation. They get the W, and then next one get the W, and just give me more motivation. All right, I got to keep the chain going. Got to keep it going. Got to keep it going. Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Roby
Oh,
Svidik, I think his last name is fighting. I've seen his first couple fights, man. He's a beast.
oh yeah.
And then Dom Savaka as well. And the guys kind of you're a 35er. I think Roby and Dom I think are both 25ers, but that's got to be good for you and for them for like you to kind of see like what the young fighters are bringing to the table, and then also for them with you being able to train with someone that has 14 pro fights, and a bunch of amateur fights as well. Like it's got to be like going both ways, right? I feel like you're probably learning stuff from them as well as them having that ability, and someone also being at basically the same weight.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. These guys are teaching me a lot, and they get to see. I'm teaching them a lot as well. They get to see the experience, the patient I have in there. So we're learning a lot from each other. And Dave is just mashing all that together and getting these guys to the next level.
Um, Yeah, I did want to say so. I feel like I keep saying this. There's not as many fighters coming up in the sport now, but I feel like it's the quality of every single fighter. Every show I go to, I'm like, this guy is like a 0-0 guy and going in there and like just obliterating people. Do you kind of see that a little bit? I know you see most of the people from your gym, but do you see like maybe not as many of the number of fighters as we had 10 years ago, but now it's like, man, every single fighter that comes into the sport is like I'm like, that guy's gonna go to UFC. That guy's gonna go to UFC. It's amazing the quality, I feel like.
So different. The quality is so different. The talent is so much different. And these guys, some of these guys are training like in a basement. I'm looking like this guy like he's training out of the gym. Like he's looking at calm and that cool. That the striking is looking nice, the kicks looking great. But he's training out of the basement. Like if he has some good coaches behind, I don't know if that alarm went off. Did you catch that?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, okay, yeah. But yeah, these guys, this new generation, man, they just keep evolving the sport, and that's awesome to see.
Yeah. And then so you also I mentioned, fighting in the flats. It feels like this is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, cage thunder card. They got, I think, 8, 9 pro fights. Do you feel like, being at the main event of that card, do you feel like it's a bigger, not that it's putting more pressure on you, but it's like a whole different feeling or a whole different like show? Because it's like a lot of times there's, two, maybe 3 pro fights on a card.
Yeah.
And this is a bunch of pro fighters with a lot of experience. It's not, there's a few debut guys, but and then even the amateur side of the card is mostly experienced guys as well. Do you feel like, you know, being around kind of the maybe the level of talent, like does that make you kind of up your game as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of great fighters on this card. Like you said, this I think this is one of the biggest cards right now that I heard from Cage Thunder. And being around so much talent, makes me sit back and admire everybody. And I wish I can go out there and watch everybody fight. That's what sucks about being the last. Like, you got to be in your zone, but you can't be out there. So like, man, it brings. I hope I can inspire a lot of people too. I mean, hopefully they'll stay and watch the fight, but yeah, being around so many young up and coming fighters, so much talent on this fight card. Man, I hate being last. Like I wish I could go first so I can come out and watch. I want to be out there watching them show their talents and what they put in the
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's always interesting when it's kind of that catch 22. Like you get to that point in your career where you're like, main event, but then you're like, why do I gotta wait till they should do main event first?
like, let me go first. So I go out there and react with the crowd and be part of the atmosphere and watch good fights. So
Yeah. Yeah, it
yeah,
was actually kind of the same kind of thing that happened was one of the OCL shows. They had like a COVID restriction for it had to end by 10 or 11 or one of the I think for whatever the time was,
yeah,
and then you fought on you were the main event, but you ended up coming out like early, right? What was that like?
man. That I mean, I appreciate OCL for like rotating me from last to the first pro fight. I think it was like 11 o'clock. I think it was like 11 o'clock or something that they had the rules, or 12 or something like that. But still, man, I was like, all right, guys. I was telling guys back, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get this one over quick. So you guys got license. I think I finished that one in the first round with a rear naked choke. So I
Yeah.
guys was thanking me back there. But the one guy that was supposed to fight first, whoever was supposed to fight, we switched. He ended up didn't make it in the time, so he had to. They had to stop his bout. They had to cancel his fight. And he was so depressed back there, so hurt, and I felt so bad for him. But
Yeah,
OC,
Ray Von Baxter.
they did a great thing, and they gave him a paycheck still, and that was awesome. The guy worked so hard and didn't get the fight, but he still got a paycheck. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've seen like every once in a while you're like, I feel like I've seen the everything in this sport, and then it's like they're like, we're changing around the fight card because it's got to be done by 11. I'm like, oh man, like
Crazy.
literally, yeah. And they got in all the fights except for one. Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah, the Rayvon Baxter and Trenton Zadarko was that fight.
But he's doing great too. I follow him on social media. He really did
Yeah,
knuckle boxing and everything. I said, oh man, pure knuckle boxing.
yeah. Speaking of boxing, you have a few pro boxing fights too. Is that something you want to maybe get back into? And I know a lot of times I don't know, I've some fighters have told me like sometimes the pay in boxing is better than MMA. Is that something how you seem like when you were doing it, not that you're like not taking it seriously, but I feel like you were kind of having fun with it, that it was something different, a different challenge. Is that something that maybe in your future as well?
Man, if I can go back 10 years, I would did boxing. I love boxing. I just the science of it, the chess game. So yeah, I thought about it, but once I hang the gloves up in MMA, I'm just done with any sports. I still go in the gym and help guys out, but like, yeah, once I hang it up in MMA, I'm done boxing. No bare knuckle. I've been offered some bare. I said I can't. I can't. This is
Yeah,
pretty for me to go do that. But yeah,
yeah.
I hang it up in MMA. I'm pretty much done with all sports.
So something, do you feel like you would ever get into coaching? I know it kind of sounds like you do a little bit of like unofficial coaching now a little bit, helping guys. Of course, everyone does that in the gym, but do you feel like you would ever get into like a where you actually are a coach? I feel like a lot of times it's like you either are made to do it like Dave had a good fighting career, but
Mm,
him as a coach, man, is like you
yep.
see him and it's like the way he talks about it and the way he approaches it, like you're like, man, that guy might not. He had a good fighting career, but man, he could have even a better MMA career. And you see some of the fighters like some of the strong style coaches. Josh Williams is another guy who has just produced so many fighters, and you're like, oh man, like he had again good career, but then look
Look,
at the coaching career. That's something that you want to do, or maybe not. Like I feel like that's tough, right?
yeah,
Being
that's tough. I definitely want to stay around the sport. And I told Dave I would definitely help out, get guys ready. And once I hang everything up, I'll be there to help guys out, help Dave out, help the gym out and everything. So that is something I thought about, and I'm still thinking about.
yeah. Here's I got a job for you. You sit next to me, commentary booth. 'Cause you're good at it, man. You're good at it.
No, 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 don't play with me. I,
You and Devontae, man. Devontae did a show with me one time. I was like, "Man, Devontae knows what he's talking about."
yeah, Devontae, man, he always know what he talking about. And he can always talk too. It's like keep it going. Like that's good. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's my guy. I gotta talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Uh,
fight. Have you talked to Devontae?
I haven't actually.
Uh,
Yeah, well, a funny story with the old podcast days, which we won't tell that one online, but we got some funny off air stories too. But that every time I think about you, man, I think about that story. I'm like, oh my god, Rell. It's like it was you and I think Devontae was on the same episode.
there you go. Say what?
Um,
A good
but
old.
yeah, man. So I know you got ton of people to thank, all this stuff. It sounds like I mean, I think you're what, 2 weeks out. It sounds like you're like ready to go. Like you're ready to just do it, right? You feel like you get to that point in a camp and you're like, I'm just ready to fight.
Just ready to fight. Yeah, ready to drop these last couple, drop these couple pounds, and ready to fight, man. You're just ready to put on a show for the people, like always.
Yeah, and it will be a show. I always what's the oh yeah, hit the sponsors. I love that shirt, man. Fat Ninja. I gotta get me some Fat Ninja.
You have to. Congo did his thing off this one Fat Ninja shirt, and it's just like boom, expand to everything. So this like the Creed one, the Apollo Creed
Yeah.
got Creed Greed on the back. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. Oh yeah,
Greed. I like it.
yeah, man. He be doing his thing. So
Yeah, some of the coolest stuff. Yeah, Fat Ninja. They're gonna be at the selling shirts at the flats.
I should tell him to try to see if he can get a booth or something. But yeah, he definitely gonna be in the building. Representing his Fat Ninja, representing the gym, Aries Combat and everything. So
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody else you got to mention? Sponsors? Anything? I know Fat Ninja's the big one. Anyone else?
that's my team, my family. I like thank God for giving me this opportunity to do what I love to do, and appreciate everybody coming out, y'all. We got a show for y'all next what is it, August 17th, so a couple more
Yeah.
weeks. Stay tuned. Be ready.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna sit back. I'm actually gonna be at home for this one. I'm gonna sit back with my popcorn
Oh
and
man,
just sit there and just watch all the main event. The card, go on Tapology.
yeah,
Look at the card for this show. So many great fights. Like I said, you won't be able to watch it, but you'll be in the back getting ready. But I'm gonna be sitting there with my popcorn on a Saturday night. So many great fighters. I mean, fighters like Josh Krazan coming back, KO Butler on the card, Alec Bailey, which I
man.
think this might be Alec's first time fighting in Ohio,
I've been
definitely since his amateur career. Um,
he came a long way. This kid is amazing. He's so freaky, man, with all his different kicks, his different style. He just mixed everything up so well. So I can't
yeah,
definitely, I'm gonna come out and see him fight. That's my guy. But yeah,
yeah.
he's amazing, man. Great fighter.
Um, Hunter Watt, Nick Walls,
Nick,
Nico Odor doing his thing. He's got his gym. The fight card of the fight that I'm calling right now is going to be the steal the show.
okay.
Chase Archangelo against Christian Marinazzi for the 170 title on the amateur side of the card. That's going to be a great
Uh,
fight. I'm pumped for that one, but I'm pumped for the whole card. Scott Corbin does such a great job. I mean, we are really I think spoiled in Ohio with great matchmakers. Like it's not just like, oh, this guy has the same record as this guy. It's more about like the matchmakers actually look at the matchup and they say this is going to be a good fight, right? And we get a lot of good fights in this state. So shout out to Scott and Nicole and Hard Rock who does his thing and all the matchmakers. Tim Fairbanks from BCM. I'm gonna get them all and we're gonna do like a matchmaker roundtable. I know that they don't really like each other, but we're gonna do a matchmaker roundtable podcast one time. But yeah, man, thank you so much for joining me. I think Rell just just fell off, but thank you so much. Check him out on August 17th at Cage Thunder 28 Fight Night in the Flats. You can watch it on combatsportsnow.com. They got the pay per view. And yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode.